What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I'm really excited to show you guys some rebalance changes that are going to be coming to the game here real soon. Now, the reason why I'm so excited about this is because one of these champions I actually own, and I swear it's like getting a brand new champion once you guys get a load of his brand new kit. With that all being said, let's jump right into this. We got two champions here getting rebalanced. We'll first start off with an old fusion from the past, and it's going to be right here, this guy, Bambus Fourleaf. So Bambus used to be a fusion from way back when. Just gonna dig him up here. He is from the Skin Walkers, so Panda Bear. Now, the big thing about Bambus, I think it is getting addressed here in this rebalance. Let's go over his kit here real quick. So first up, his A1 gets a boost from 50% chance up to 75% chance of landing decreased speed. It becomes an AoE when the target has 2 or more debuffs. It still gets boosted up to 75% chance. Just gonna double check here. With books, it's going to be 100% chance. So that is a massive buff to his A1, improving the consistency of his kit. Now his A2 Grove Tender, previously his shield size was equal to 30% of the allies max HP. Now it's just going to be straight up off of Bambus's max HP. Bambus has 21k base HP, so it's easier to scale up a bigger shield. So this is overall a nice change. Now the biggest change with this ability is that it's been reduced to a 4-turn cooldown and 3 turns when fully booked. Now that is really huge because he does have a buff extension on his A2, and that's one of the biggest knocks against his kit, was that his buff extension was a 4-turn ability. Now it's a 3-turn ability, which lines up really well with all the other buff extender champions out there. I think this greatly improves his viability. We're going to be seeing a lot more Bambus just with this rebalance to his A2, because we're going to see him start creeping up in some Titus and Wixwell teams now that his buff extension is on a 3-turn cooldown. Now his A3 also gets a pretty significant rework here. Not only does it go down from 5 turns to 4 turns, and then fully booked it's going to be down to 3 turns, but the skill is also going to get some additional benefit as well. So first, it's going to place increased accuracy, increased attack on your entire team. Then it's going to place Enfeeble on the target enemy, as well as a decreased accuracy on all enemies. And in addition to that, we'll have a 100% chance of placing decreased attack on a single boss as well. So this ability on a 3-turn cooldown gets quite a bit of value now. First, you're going to get increased accuracy, increased attack on everybody, and then you get to enfeeble a single enemy, as well as placing decreased accuracy on all enemies. There's a lot going on, and it's a lot of value for 3 turns. So I would say these rebalances to the A2, actually all of it, A1, A2, A3 is very significant for this champion. It greatly increases the consistency and value of each ability. But wait, there's more. The passive gets a little bit of a retouch up as well. The debuff transferring ability from the passive effect goes from 50% to 75%. Not a big deal there. It's kind of a gimmicky part of his kit. It's going to make him harder to deal with in some wave content. I'm thinking about some wave in Centranos. He's going to be a little bit more difficult. And his active effect actually gets a pretty big change here. So they're going to add the enemy attack condition. So if he's woken up by sleep removal or by an enemy attack, all of the debuffs from this champion will go to the enemy with the highest resistance. So that condition with enemy attack is actually a big change, because obviously any enemy with AoE damage is going to wake him up, break his sleep, and then transfer all of Bambus's debuffs onto your teammate with the highest resistance. Again, it's kind of gimmicky, it's hard to rely on, but it's a pretty big boost for this kind of effect by adding the enemy attack condition. So overall, his kit, honestly, it's a slam dunk. I have Bambus. I've tried him out. I wasn't really impressed. There's a lot of things that aren't that great about him, because his A1 decreased speed AoE is not consistent. His 4-turn buff duration is not great. His buff ability on his A3, again, not great. Single target doesn't really offer too much value. But now everything just got way better. everything just got way better, and I think we'll definitely see more Bambuses in the near future. Now, let's go on to the meaty part here, and we get a buff to Gharol Bloodmaw. So if you guys don't know, Gharol Bloodmaw was the first mythical champion I pulled from Primal Shards, and yeah, I've been waiting for a buff to her for the longest time, and I really thought she would get a buff because, first of all, she's one of the first mythicals ever released, and she's awful, especially in her current state, especially against the current champions in the game. But after reading this kit, I'm actually really excited. Let's go over here. A lot of yellow text. Love to see it, right? So anyways, the A1 here, previously it was just a single target hit with a 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill. Also removes shields. Now, before attacking, it's going to just strip the target. So single target, strip. And then it's going to increase the cooldown of a random skill by 2 turns, even if this attack lands as a weak hit. So no longer is there going to be a percentage chance of happening. It's just going to happen. And now all of the base form abilities also scale off of attack. One of the worst things about Gharol is that the base form is HP, and when she transforms, she turns into an attack-based damage dealer. Now, the abilities that she has will scale off of both HP and attack. It's actually a huge change. Gives her benefit for having stacking both of those stats. Let's check out the A2 here, Hammer Quake. Attacks all enemies, places provoke on all enemies for 1 turn. Now it's going to ignore block debuffs and weak hits. So she's just always going to land the provokes. Amazing. It's also going to place a protected unkillable buff on herself, as well as a counter attack buff on this champion for 3 turns. 3 turns is significant because it allows her to metamorph without burning through all of those buffs. So she technically could have protected unkillable, counter attack, and then she can metamorph, and then she can still have those buffs in her new form as well. Of course, it's going to take her multiple turns to get through it, but the 3-turn duration, very nice, and it's still going to benefit from attack as well as HP scaling. Lastly, on the A3 here, it's going to be a remove all debuffs from all allies. So it's going to be a team-wide cleanse, ally protection, also places shield, 30% of this champion's max HP. That's amazing. And then it's going to increase the value of the shield based on how many debuffs it removes. 3%, it's not going to be huge, but that's a lot of value compared to what it was previously, which was removing just block buffs from all allies. Now it's going to be a full team cleanse, which is amazing. And you're going to get some additional shield value there from the new rebalance to the A3. Her passive in her base form also gets a bit of a tweak as well. Same stuff, nothing too crazy, but she will benefit now from a heal for 25% of the damage she takes. It's not huge, but it's nice just to keep her going a little bit there. That's her base form. Let's check out her alternate form. All right, a lot of yellow text here. So the big gripe about Gharol is that you can kind of see here, she basically only has 2 abilities and she's a mythical champion. So it's kind of wild, right? It's kind of wild, but it looks like they did her right here. Let's check out her alternate form. Attack based damage dealer now. So she goes from HP to attack. Her A1, it's still an AoE, which is great. It has a 25% chance of repeating an attack, so up from 20%. It used to be 20%, now it's going to be 25%. And they also added it will ignore block damage from now on. And it also scales off of HP as well. So attack and HP, similar to how Rhodos is. We don't know the exact multipliers of each stat, unfortunately, but she will benefit just like how Rhodos benefits from HP and attack. Now the A1 can kill through block damage, and it's an AoE. That's actually amazing. The A2 here as well, it's still an AoE. The damage of this skill increases by 10% for each buff on this champion and the target. So your damage just it could be potentially crazy because now you're actually targeting buffs on yourself and your enemy. So yeah, it's going to be, I would say, probably double. It's still going to ignore 30% of the target's defense, but now will also ignore up to 50% of the target's defense instead if this champion has more buffs than the target. Now, that's kind of hard to control, but it is controllable. So 50% ignore defense on an AoE, guys. That doesn't happen very often. 50% on an AoE, and further damage boosting from how many buffs. So at least you can control the amount of buffs you can have on Gharol. And like I said, you can synergize from her base form into her damage form as well by placing the 3-turn counterattack, 3-turn unkillable on herself, and then transforming. So then you can guarantee that she can self-buff herself to boost her damage up that way. It's also going to benefit from attack and HP as well. Let's check out the passive here. Crimson Haze. Whenever an ally attacks, this champion has a 50% chance to team up with them and join their attack. She's going to get further damage here as her HP decreases. 1% for every 1% HP loss. So theoretically, she could go up to 99% damage boost if she's at 1%. And of course, she does have a unkillable buff on her base form. She also receives less damage as her HP decreases, 0.5% for every 1% of HP loss. So theoretically, up to 49.5% damage mitigation, which is a lot. Now, it'll be really interesting to figure out which side of the stats she'll benefit most from. If she actually benefits from being an HP-based damage dealer, and then you can add a little bit of attack, you could technically build her pretty tanky with lots of HP, but we don't know which way or which stat will be more heavily weighted in all of her abilities yet. That's going to be something to look out for sure. Now, it looks like she has a new ability as well. It's called Cornered Animal. I like it. It's remove all debuffs from this champion. Places a increased attack, increase crit damage, increase crit rate on all allies for 3 turns, and then you grant an extra turn. This skill unlocks when this champion has 3 or more debuffs, or when this champion has 50% or less HP. It's on a 2-turn cooldown. Full self cleanse with a triple damage buff followed by an extra turn. It's a very interesting ability, and I wonder if it triggers instantly. That would be interesting, or if it's like an activated skill. Most likely probably an activated skill. If it was an instant ability, I think it would be a little bit too strong. But hey, this is a lot of extra stuff from this rebalance to Gharol. And honestly, I'm super excited because I never used Gharol. I actually built her once to help me out in a Fire Knight hard stage in Cintranos, and she was not helpful at all. And I ended up using a bunch of epics instead of using Gharol to help me out on that stage. But now, after seeing these rebalance changes, I'm actually really excited because I'm basically getting like a new champion, right? And these look pretty significant. These buffs look pretty significant. Now, the big knock against her probably is her ability to stay alive. She still doesn't have a way to kind of cheat death. She still doesn't have a way to kind of come back from the brink, especially if she doesn't get a turn or if she's locked out or something like that. Or if she's heavily disrupted. She can still be controlled, right? You can still like CC her and stuff. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this. It's a huge buff to her. I'm very excited to test her out to see what she can do. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Anyways, that's going to be it here. We got 2 balance changes. They're really good balance changes, actually. Love to see these from Plarium. Hopefully we keep seeing more of them consistently. Maybe mix in some epics. Maybe mix in, maybe 1 month mix in a couple more Legos. Maybe 4 Legos instead of just 2. But I like it. The last couple of rebalances have been pretty significant, making them much more stronger. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about these rebalances. Do you guys have Bambus? Do you guys have Gharol? Are you guys excited? I know a lot of you guys leave me comments saying Gharol sucks, Team Gharol, I'm with you, man. Well, she's finally got her buff. I'm sure all that crying I did to Plarium actually got them to buff Gharol here, but I'm excited. Hopefully she's gonna do well. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Hopefully you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.